If I had to summarize the Lois Wagner that I knew, I would say that the saying that the Christophers use, it is better to light one candle than to curse the darkness. Lois Wagner lit candles all of her life.
I loved to come to the library. I looked forward to coming to the library because Lois always made me feel good. I always walked out of here smiling.
Lois was a delightful person. Lois had a beautiful sense of humor.
Lois was always there. Sometimes when nobody else wanted to listen, Lois was always there to listen. Lois was always there with a cheerful word.
A friendly person, never saying bad anything about anybody. And she was very good at that, never say anything really bad about anybody. People sometimes weren't good to her, she was not bad to them. And that's quite remarkable. Always something good to say. It's like a good angel.
Lois was Richmond. She knew more about Richmond than anyone here. She'd been here long enough and she loved the place. And if you wanted to know anything about Richmond, ask Lois.
To me, when they changed the name of the library to the Lois Wagner Memorial Library, that was one of the best things that this community could have done.
The dedication means that people actually recognize what she did and recognize what influence she had on the city and how good she was for the community.
I think that the rededication of the library is just a very fitting tribute. It's a way of the community giving thanks back to her for the 51 years that she was a librarian here.
Known Lois for about 25 years. We moved here in 1972. I'm chairman of the Lois Wagner Memorial Library Endowment Fund. This was something Lois had been pestering me for quite a few years. She wanted to get it started, so I got the proper paperwork together. Endowment Fund has been in existence now for about a year and a half. We have something already 248 donors with about $11,000.
I felt that Lois was the heart and soul of this town.
Whenever Good Old Days needed anything, they'd ask Lois. Lois would always come up with the answer or come up with the help or whatever it took. Some of the other things Lois had a lot to do was the letterheads. When I first took over Good Old Days back in, I believe it was 83 or 84, I was given about 3 or 4 boxes of paper, and one of the things I noticed in that paper were some of the old letterheads. And I noticed when Lois got her hands on the letterhead, evidently, all of a sudden appeared the town clock on the letterhead, which a lot of people knew was one of her great loves too, the town clock. So we continued that tradition, and on all of our letterhead we have continued to have the town clock. And I noticed in the garden over here one of the town clocks that was carved during the Good Old Days. And that was another surprise when Lois said, "You've got those chain carvers over there, Tim, maybe you could commission them to do a town clock." And sure enough, he showed up with this clock for Lois, and it was in her office for the longest time. I think she protected it as well as she could, but it's awfully nice that it's out here where everybody can share it.
And I just remember her laughter, and especially during coffee break time.
She would always say that if she had not been handicapped, that she would have been the star, and we would always, assure her that she was the star of the library. We got her a coffee mug that said the star. On her library record, if you scanned her card, it said Lois the Star Wagner. But really, even though we joked about it, we always knew it was true.
I think one of the most important things she taught me was how to show appreciation to my workers. You think that you thank people. Lois could never thank people enough.
I think she made me really appreciate life. With Lois, life, every minute was wonderful to her. She had the happiest disposition. How many people could have the outlook on life that she had? It's wonderful. She was a great gal.
She was the force that created what we have today. And what we have today is something to be very proud of. She really created this library, and that's why we have the Lois Wagner Memorial Library.
Well, Lois's light went out this year. So she's no longer around to give her lights and her little bit of candlelight to everyone who comes in here. But her light still exists. Every person that she touched took away a little bit of Lois's light. What I hope everybody in this town will do is take the light and the attitude that they received from Lois and spread it around and make Lois's light shine.